Today's video is sponsored by Forever Pick, exotic wood guitar picks. Handmade one at a time in Chicago, Illinois, you can choose from a selection of exotic woods that will actually improve your guitar's tone. Take advantage of an exclusive 25% off coupon when you buy the full 6-pack at the link in the description. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it.
Hey y'all, it's Shitpost Friday.
Name of my tone print, he said I could name it anything I wanted, right, Tor? Anything I wanted, and I haven't even told him because I don't even know what the name is yet. But it's,
I'm worried.
I'm gonna say let's just go with Pussy Melter. This one's called Pussy Melter. Can we say that?
We can totally say that.
All right.
Howdy y'all, Brad the Guitologist here. It's time for Shitpost Friday. Usually on Shitpost Friday I begin with the news, but I thought this week we would try something a little bit different, seeing as the news has gotten me into trouble for about the past 6 weeks of me doing it. So let's try something different. First thing I wanted to address, I got a question from a gentleman named Will. And Will writes, he says, "Hi Brad, this is Will. I just recently retired from the military after 27 years in the Army. Thanks for your service, man. Appreciate that. I was trained by the Army as an electronics technician. Over the last 20 years of being on active duty, I have really gotten into tube amps and consider that my specialty. In between multiple deployments to Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan," what is this? See, they're sending people to places I can't even pronounce. These poor bastards, man. Iraq, Kuwait, Afghanistan. What is this? Kyrgyzstan. Is it Kyrgyzstan? I'm sure that's a Baltic state, but what the hell? I haven't even... Kyrgyzstan. I'm trying to picture in my mind where that would be. So this is Kyrgyzstan. It's sandwiched in between Kazakhstan and China. And to be frank, it looks pretty freaking awesome. You know, every now and then you find out that one of your musical heroes released an album you never knew about. Well, this is like the album that I never knew God released. I mean, look at this place. It looks like heaven on earth. Anyway, we must be fighting over it. Honduras and Liberia. My biggest breakthrough was during my last duty station, in which I spent the past 7 years serving in Hawaii. Hawaii was severely lacking in electronic service techs of any sort, and I found myself repairing and servicing everything from $3,000 Friedman amps to $300 Bose headphones. And that's something actually that I heard from someone else. That's interesting that you mentioned that you worked doing this on Hawaii and that there weren't many people doing it in Hawaii. I think probably one big stumbling block for Hawaii would be finding parts, I would imagine, unless you can have them directly shipped in from China. I guess you can now with Alibaba and all these other sites. I'm sure you could directly buy, you know, parts. But that's interesting that you mentioned that Hawaii thing, because someone else actually just the other day, it's weird how this kind of stuff happens. It happens in pairs or threes sometimes, or when it rains it pours, you know how it is. But somebody messaged me the other day and said that they were asking me a question, and I think I forgot to respond to them, but I did open the message and read it and then got distracted. But they were talking about, they live I think on Oahu, and they couldn't find anybody to do work there, and they were going to try to service their own amps and go that route instead. So interesting. Maybe I should move to Hawaii. That's actually an idea. If there aren't any technicians on Hawaii, maybe we could just we could all move to Hawaii. I could take my whole horde with me, and then there would be, like, you know, I could sell those off little at a time. Live on the beach, you know, watch all the girls in bikinis, you know, when I wasn't soldering. Anyway, so Will continues. Long story short, I've been watching your YouTube channel for years now and have even left some comments a time or two. I always take a lot of pictures during my repairs, but I've never taken the steps to do videos worthy of public viewing. I think I want to start doing something like that. If you could give me advice, that would be great. No, man, no, don't do this, because you'd just be competition and you'd screw me up and you'd steal all my viewers. No, man, you know, the first bit of advice I would say is get what you need up front, because I think if I had spent a little more money up front when I first started this channel, you know, if you go way back into my videos, you'll see, you know, I started out, I was just sitting on the floor doing amp and guitar reviews and stuff, and just kind of talking down into the camera, which was just my iPhone, which was sat on the floor, you know. And if I'd really started out being a little more serious with it, I would have gone ahead and gotten some lighting, and I would have gone ahead and spent a little bit of money, because I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't all that much money that I think I spent on getting the setup and everything like I like it now. But you know, there are some pieces of equipment you're going to need. You're going to need some stuff. You're going to need, you're going to need some stands. You're going to need some, at least a couple of tripods. Those will also double as, right now I have one tripod that's holding one light, and you're going to need at least 2 lights so that you can light yourself from 2 different perspectives. If you're going to light yourself, and I just touched on another thing too. You need a decent microphone that's going to be able to pick you up. Some cameras have decent onboard microphones, but you know, there's a lot that you can read on those too. Some people go with shotgun microphones if they're using camcorders like I have. The camcorder I have is a JVC. It does pretty okay on HD stuff, and by HD I mean, like, you know, 1080p. You want to shoot in at least 1080p if you're going to shoot, and try to upload in that. If you want to do editing, if you're not just doing videos all in one shot and you want to be able to cut and splice stuff together, you're going to need an editor. The editor that I use, it was only like 20 bucks. I haven't been 100% happy with it, but it does have a really kind of a shallow learning curve. It's not hard to learn. It's called Movavi. Like I said, there's some things about it I don't like. But you know, the learning curve was fairly shallow, so if you can splice together decent looking videos with it, and if the more adept you get at it too, your editing gets a little better as you go along. I'm probably not even going to edit this video, come to think of it, because it takes a long time to edit. That's the biggest amount of time that I spend doing this, is in the editing. I can shoot a video like this in no time. You know, I can, especially if I'm just talking, you know, if I'm doing these talking Shitpost Friday videos. But when it comes to editing this stuff and splicing it all together, it takes for freaking ever. Usually it takes, God, I would say a good 8 hours anyway. Just, you know, if I usually try to edit while I'm doing something else. Like during the day, you know, I watch my 2-year-old, so I kind of have to hang out with her anyway, so there's not a lot of soldering I can do while I'm hanging out with my 2-year-old. So, you know, my projects kind of get put on hold for that block of time, and that affords me the time, though, to do some editing. So that's usually when I do editing. A lot of times, though, man, I'll stay up late into the night trying to get something done too. Like the Shitpost Friday videos have, to be honest, kind of become a little bit of an albatross, because you know, it's the only self-imposed sort of deadline that I've put upon myself, you know, to try to produce a video every Friday and have it ready for you guys on Fridays. And, you know, just having a deadline like that, and you'd be surprised how quickly the week goes by too. It's like, holy shit, didn't I just shoot Shitpost Friday and I've got to do another one again, you know? And you want to get started usually a day or two in advance, you know, to give yourself time to record everything and to research whatever topics you're going to talk about. You know, if you're going to write down things, if you're going to go to that amount of trouble, then you're definitely going to need more production time. So, you know, set realistic goals for yourself. As far as equipment goes, the camera that I use now, I found on Craigslist. A guy was selling it because he got it as a parting gift. I think he had left his job or something, and they gave him this as a parting gift, and he was just like, I don't need this damn thing, I've already got one. So he was selling it, and it had the box and had all the contents and everything. It was basically brand new, but it was, I don't know, I think I gave $100 for it, and it was, I think originally it was like a $300 camera, something like that. So, you know, it was a good deal, and saved me some money from having to go buy a brand new one. So if you can find something like that on Craigslist, I would recommend it. Try to get something at least that shoots 1080p and has a decent onboard microphone, and you'll be ahead of the game at the outset. You're going to need something on which to mount the camera that you can move it around on. For instance, you know, I can reach here and grab this and move it, and I can articulate this, and I can move this down. I can turn it up this way, sideways, and what I'm using is actually a little boom arm. Let me take this camera off of here so you can see. Okay, I can't take it too far off because I've got wires attached to it, but you can see the boom arm that this is on. It's an articulated boom arm, and it is it's bolted to this desk. So another thing you're going to need is a good workbench or desk or something that you don't mind screwing up. I mean, you don't want like your grandmother's old desk or something, because you're going to want to put holes in it and make it your own, and you know. But this bracket here is very sturdy now. It took this camera falling backwards on the floor, which I actually caught on video once. Not surprising then that they changed the design for. But yeah, you want something where you can zoom in pretty tight on things, especially if you're going to show resistors and capacitors and little stuff like that. Another thing that I've kind of upgraded for my station is this little, this other articulated boom arm right here, and you can see that on the monitor up there. You can see that stuff moving around. That's because right here there's a microscope. Now, this isn't something I would recommend necessarily going out and buying, like if you're just starting out, but this thing does produce a good picture. It's also good for it's also good to have a monitor for looking at schematics, something that you can get on the internet with and put some schematics up here so that you can just look up and see your schematic and look down and work. Otherwise, you're going to need something else like an iPad or something, you know, that you can get schematics out and you can show. I've been just doing that. I know there's other ways that you can do it. You can do screen capture and all that stuff. But that's it. But frankly, that's a pain in the ass. The Movavi doesn't do screen capture automatically. You have to purchase that as an add-on, I think. There's another one. It's VSDC, I believe, is a free editor that I was using for a little while, and it did a pretty decent job. But then they made some changes that kind of pissed me off, and can't remember exactly what it was now, but they made some changes and they kind of locked some functions out that I used before the changes. So I just went ahead and bought the Movavi at that point. But I mean, it'll be a decent free editor if you want to go with that. Like I said, I think it's VSDC, I believe, video editor. And you can do all the transitions, and it's got some cool little functions, and it will do screen capture, I think. I'm not sure about the new versions, but the one I have, it will do screen captures. And sometimes I do screen captures, you know, where I'm scrolling through something, but it doesn't really work quite right. The frame rate's off or something, so everything looks like it's going faster than it actually is, and you know, it's kind of a trade-off. But those are the only two. You know, I've got Adobe Premiere as well, like an old version of Adobe Premiere. When I say old, like really old, like, I don't know, 2006 or something like that. And it's the Adobe Essentials Premiere. And it's the learning curve on Premiere. I mean, it is the premier, pretty much video editing software. If you wanted to get the best from the outset, you know, you should probably go with Premiere, but it is a pretty steep learning curve if you're going to try to learn Premiere. It's, you know, it's about like learning Photoshop. I mean, it's not something you just do overnight. You know, you probably would want to either take a class, or you'd want to go on a website where, you know, you share a lot of video. You know, just start doing it, I guess. You know, watch a lot of YouTube videos. There's probably a lot of pointers and stuff on YouTube channels, I'm sure, about how to use it. But it's an expensive software too, and I think if it's anything like Photoshop is now, you have to actually buy it as a service. You have to renew a subscription. You don't buy the software. So that's I jumped off board of Photoshop whenever they started doing that. So I'm not interested in all that. I'm not interested in Windows 10 either, for the same reason. They're trying to turn it into a service that you have to pay for all the time. It's like, just get the hell out of my way, you know. Stop being on my computer. Stop trying to update things, you know. Just leave me alone. Give me an operating system that works. Anyway, that's a tangent. But yeah, man, you know, you're gonna need a couple of boom arms, stuff that you can mount little lights to. I've got a couple little lights mounted to this thing. This is just a little thing I found at Goodwill for like $1 or something. It's an LED, so I mounted it up here, and I've got it, you know, plugged in. Also have this boom arm mounted to my desk. I had to drill a hole for that over on this side. So, you know, these boom arms are actually really nice. If you can find something like this that you can, that you don't mind, you know, sort of permanently or semi-permanently at least mounting to your desk, these can be helpful things, especially if you're going to try to shoot video, because you're going to have something to mount your camera to where you can get up and over the desk. Like, you know, where you're at right now, I can swing pretty much seamlessly like this. I can do my Shitpost Friday videos, and I can go directly into, you know, showing you an amplifier because it's on the same boom. So yeah, Will, I hope that answers some of your questions. One other, you know, a couple other things I wanted to point out and show you. I'm going to unplug the microphone that's currently plugged into this camera. There's a wire that runs from the camera down to a mixer, and then it goes through some other stuff, and I'll show you that, but I also want to show you what it sounds like when I unplug it. So here it is with the microphone that's overhead here, and this is a Shure Beta 87A vocal microphone, and I've got it set fairly hot, but not too hot. I've had it set actually hotter than this in the past, and it can really sound great, but I've kind of noticed that when I try to play something, sometimes it kind of distorts. So I've set it where it's kind of in between, where it'll still sound good if I demonstrate something briefly up here on the desk, but it also will sound pretty good when I'm just talking. But I'm going to show you the difference when I unplug it. Okay, so this is the onboard microphone camera, and it doesn't sound half bad for what it is. It's just a built-in stereo microphone that's on the camera itself, and it actually kind of has a zoom effect. You can with its gain control. If you are demonstrating amplifiers and stuff, the gain control can kind of be a hindrance more than a help. And I record all of my audio directly into the camera, through other equipment first, but directly into the camera. And the reason I do this is because it prevents me from having to sync up stuff later, which would just become a huge pain in the ass. There's no way I'm going to get into all that. It's, you know, maybe for some segments it's okay. If I'm doing voiceover, yeah, that's something different. I can add that later in post-production. But yeah, if I'm just doing stuff like this, if I'm talking to the camera, or if I'm doing repairs or something, all audio is recorded directly to the camera itself, so that it's part of the video, and I don't have to worry about trying to sync everything up. It would just, I mean, I spend enough time as it is trying to edit out all of my stupidity. Like, a lot of times I'll start going off on a tangent that really doesn't help with the storyline of a particular video. So I'm like, you know what, they don't need to hear all of that crap that I just said. Just get rid of that. You know, and it kind of cuts things down from maybe a 50-minute video down to, like, you know, a 30-minute video, something people can fit into their lunch schedule. So little editing decisions, you know, you'll get used to that sort of thing. But I did want to show you one other thing as well. I'm going to unplug the power to this camera, which I usually leave plugged in, but I'll show you some of the other equipment that I use here. I'll just kind of give you a tour. Okay, so here's the microphone that I use. Once again, that's a Beta 87A, and I just kind of have it pointed in the general direction of where I sit right here from overhead. So the signal from that goes into this little mixer right here. I have a couple of signals coming in. The other one's coming from my test amplifier over there. And it goes through that little mixer into this Alesis compressor, and then to this whatever this thing is, Euphoria. It's basically for interfacing with the computer. So I could go directly into a computer and record audio separately, but once again, I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in that. So what I do is I come out of this and I go through a stereo cable, which goes directly into the side of the camera. And this camera has a stereo microphone input. It has an HDMI out. It has some decent features, but it's not the best camera in the world. It's just good for my purposes. And once again, it was fairly cheap. So, but here's this arm right here, and I made a whole video of this as well. And here's the arm that the camera is attached to. And I made a video at one point showing how to modify one of these to use your camera on an arm like this. And I will try to remember to link that down in the description somewhere, in a comment or whatever. As for lighting, I've got lights in the room, but they don't do a whole lot. I mean, if you're going to do this sort of thing, you got to have good lighting, and I figured that out, you know, through trial and error and making videos that were kind of crappy for a long time. But I've got these lights here. These actually are something that my wife bought, but you can get these in B&H on their website. They send out a catalog. I have. So you can get these. Two of these does a pretty damn good job. You can kind of spread them out. There's one here and one here when I'm doing my Shitpost Fridays. I've got one on a tripod right here, and the other one is just clamped to my mic stand. And the cool thing about these is you can just kind of clamp them anywhere you need them. So, and they're portable too, so you can take them with you if you're doing stuff elsewhere. And as far as these stands, these tripods, you know, you could spend $100 on a tripod like this very easily, or you can go to like Goodwill. I've got 3 of these just to have on hand, and I think I got them all at Goodwill for under $10 a piece. So you can save a lot. You know, I don't know if you're still in Hawaii. I wasn't real clear on that. If you're still in Hawaii, that might not be the case, because I'm sure it's hard to get just about everything in Hawaii. But where I live in the world, you can save yourself a lot of money by going thrifting and finding stuff like tripods. People give these away all the time, it seems. I see them all the time, and decent ones, real good ones. This one, for instance, this one has the, you know, where you can raise it and lower it. And I could use this for my camera as well, but right now I'm just happen to be using it for lighting. So I could raise this up if I wanted and shine lights down, so if I had a shadow problem or whatever. But yeah, you want, you know, half decent lighting. I've got more lights over here. There's 3 lights there, and they're usually not pointed that direction. They're usually pointed toward my workbench, so they contribute to the lighting on the bench. And again, I have those couple of lights on there as well. It's 2 of them, in fact. So in total, I've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the ceiling there's 6, 7, 8, 9 different lights in this room right now. So, you know, lighting is really important. It makes videos a lot easier to watch. You know, my lighting's not perfect either. Some people have pointed out that, you know, sometimes I get phasing problems, strobing effects from the lights, and sometimes that translates to weird artifacts on videos. And I think usually those are coming from that light right there, which sometimes starts kind of flickering. And that's because I believe the little power supply is kind of maybe going out on it. I don't know exactly what, but that's a pretty bright light, and I like having it on the desk, but it does have its little problems sometimes. But yeah, I mean, you know, you need a couple mic stands, and if you have access to a Guitar Center dumpster, they might be able to help you out with those. I think I pulled both of these from the Guitar Center dumpsters, that stand right there and that stand, and they, you know, each of them would have had some little problem that I fixed like in 2 seconds. So yeah, you'll need that if you're going to make videos. But yeah, that's pretty much, you know, that's pretty much the stuff you're going to need. Camera is a big one. Invest in a decent camera, and you can get good quality without having to spend a lot of money now, because, you know, just technology's just come a long way. Get a big, if it saves to like an SD card, go ahead and get the big SD cards, like a 64 meg, or 64 gig or something like of that similar size. Don't get like little 8 gig cards and think that's going to help, you know, be all that you need, because just stopping and having to dump files and stuff like that just becomes a real pain in the ass. So definitely go ahead and get the biggest, you know, memory card that you can for your camera, so you don't have to screw with all that. As far as the program that I use, again, I use this Movavi program, and here I'm editing a video for my second channel, where I repaired an iPad. But you can kind of get the gist. Like, for instance, it shows you, like, when I start talking is right there where that waveform starts, so I can tell when I'm about to start talking. Alright, do you believe in second chances? I think I've just gotten one. So what I could do is I could come in here and I could click on this spot, and I could create a cut. So I can cut right there. So it's going to cut these. It's going to cut that single file into 2 separate files, and then I can kind of grab this one and I can drag it if I want to get rid of all this empty space, like where I wasn't talking. I can drag it all the way back here, like to the last thing that I said, for instance, and there will be a jump cut right there where all this will be gone, but it, you know, it reduces the size of the video and the length of the video so that it makes it a little easier to watch in a single setting. You know, a lot of people do have short attention spans and all that kind of crap, so, you know, you kind of have to sort of have to play to the middle of the field. You know, not everybody will be like that. Some people want to see the entire thing, but I think that they are outliers. You know, these are people who have nothing better to do. I think most of my viewers are probably people who are at boring desk jobs, you know, and they want like a 30-minute video or something they can watch during their lunch break. So I try to keep things, if I can, under like 30 minutes or so, usually. If something runs on a little bit longer, then that's just the way it is, but I try to keep things down. You know, you can do all the transitions and everything. Like, I could grab this transition and just drag it and drop it right here over this little cut that I made, and that would smoothly transition there. You've probably seen that in some of my videos. There's a lot of other things that you can do with this. I won't do a full review of this Movavi editor or anything, but you can do things like, you know, circle particular items in the video, make little arrows and stuff pop up. If I wanted to do a voice overdub, I could click here and I could start recording with my onboard microphone on this computer, or I could use an outboard microphone. So the microphone that I use for voiceovers is this thing. This is actually a Rock Band microphone. You can find these really cheaply at Goodwill's, other thrift stores. I see them all the time. You know, Rock Band has kind of outlived its popularity, I guess, with a lot of people, and you just see these turn up all the time for like $1. And it's, you know, it's a Logitech. It's not the greatest microphone in the world, but it is a Logitech USB mic. Sometimes you do have to put some EQ on it. Let's see, I'll show you what I mean. Like, if I wanted to do a voiceover, for instance, on this little video clip right here, like this, we'll say this space, this empty space where I said nothing, I can come over here and I can click here, like where I kind of stopped talking. If this is where I want to start my my voiceover. But at first I want to select the microphone. So I will use the, okay, that's the Logitech USB microphone. So I select the appropriate microphone. And you definitely want, with this microphone, you definitely want that pop filter that I just dropped. But anyway, okay, pop filter on. Let's see. So I'll hit start recording. It goes 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is the point in the video where I don't say very much and I want to add something to it, so I select this and you can see it recording down there, and here in just a second it will, when I stop it, it'll show you the waveform. Okay. And I just said the word okay right there, and I'm showing some other things happening and blobbity blobbity, and here's how you do a voiceover, etc. So when I'm done doing my voiceover, all I need to do is click stop recording. So, and it should pop up down here. I hope it doesn't make a liar of me. There it is. Just had to process it. This has become a very long video. You can see I'm 30 minutes into this video already. But this is not easy stuff to do, really. I mean, it takes forever. It's not that it's difficult, it just takes for freaking ever. But here, I'll show you what this thing sounds like. Sometimes a little bit of EQ I'll put on it, and it sounds makes it sound a little better if I EQ it. But it's not bad, it's passable. Okay, so this is the point in the video where I don't say very much and I want to add something to it, so I select this and you can see it recording down there, and here in just a second it will, when I stop it, it'll show you the waveform. And I just said the word okay right there, and I'm showing some other things happening and blobbity blobbity, and here's how you do a voiceover, etc. So when I'm done doing my voiceover, all I need to do is click stop recording. So you get the idea. You know, I could come back in here and do a lot of post-production editing that if I want to clean things up and like edit out a few things where I, again, you know, where I just kind of rambled on too much about stuff that's not really consequential and doesn't add to the video, you know, in any way, I can do that. So, Will, I hope all that helps you a little bit. Good luck to you if you do decide to do this. I would say you're going to spend a long time not making any kind of money at this. You know, it took me a couple of years easily of posting stuff to YouTube where I didn't make anything. Just nothing. None of my videos took off. Nothing made anything at all. And I was just doing it as a hobby. I was basically just doing it to show off the things that I had for sale, you know, to have a video posted about it. So if somebody asked, hey, what does that sound like? You know, I could point them to the video and say, well, there you go. There's what it sounds like. So that was my initial purpose in doing this, but then it kind of evolved, and here I am now. So I hope that answers your question, and best of luck to you. All right, so we're going to open some viewer mail. Got this one here. This is actually, it's labeled viewer mail, but this dude wants me to, this is an old friend of mine, actually. I used to play in a band with this guy, and he wants me to see if I could do something with this, or he says it's a surprise. He didn't even tell me what it is. I thought he was going to just donate it to me to do something with, but I think he wants it back, so let's see what it is. Oh yeah, this is his new band. Again, this is my buddy Chuck. This is his band. They do like 80s style rock, and they're kind of I think they travel here regionally and stuff and do shows. But I haven't heard any of his stuff really. I've heard a couple of things. That's my buddy Chuck. That's my buddy Greg. And actually, I've mentioned Greg in a Shitpost Friday video before. He's the guy, if you'll remember, he's the guy who left the Ozzy Osbourne tape at my house, the Speak of the Devil tape, that I don't think I ever gave back to him. So that's him. I've played with him in a band too, and grew up, and he was always kind of around. He was friends with my mom and my stepdad, and played in bands with my stepdad, and Chuck and Greg and I and my stepdad played in a little band together for a while there too. So cool guys. But yeah, that's their CD. Thanks, Chuck. Appreciate that, man. Let's see. Let's see what he sent me here. What is this? Okay. He sent me an electronic football game. There's no back on the... Okay, so he wants me to monkey with this and see if I can fix it. And he said he wanted it back. Well, Chuck, what do you want me to do with this, man? What is this crap? This doesn't have anything to do with guitars. Come on, Chuck. Okay. I mean, I'll be honest. I think what'd you pay for shipping on this? $2.66. Man, I don't even know if that's worth $2.66. I don't know anything about vintage electronic handheld games, but I think you might have spent more than it's worth. I might monkey with this and put a video up on my second channel. Okay, so this is from Lynn from Massachusetts, and we'll see what we have here. And this is labeled. This is labeled viewer mail, so this should be something that is being donated. I try to have everybody label things, you know, accordingly when they send stuff in, because it gives me a heads up on what it is, you know. It looks like there's a few things in here. Wow, there's like a bunch of stuff in here, man. Do I see a Boston Red Sox something? Is that Boston Red Sox? Ha, sure shit is. And it's a yo-yo. Cool, man. I haven't had a good yo-yo in a while. Here, let's see if I can still yo-yo. Let's see. Boston Red Sox. Well, I'm more of a Cubs fan, I hate to tell you. But if I had to choose between the Red Sox and the Yankees, I'll go Red Sox every time. Let's see if I can yo-yo. I think the Red Sox, they have a really good team again this year. They've done really well. They've done really well for a while now. They're not really the GOATs that they used to be. I guess the Cubs aren't either. Both have got World Series under their belts, and both teams, which used to have curses. We're fans, I guess, of cursed teams, or formerly cursed teams. But let's see here. Let's see if I can get this where you can even see it. Oops. You're probably not even going to be able to see this. Let's see. This is a lost art. The yo-yo. And it's fun. I used to work, I learned this because I worked at a little pizza parlor that was in back of a convenience store. And there was a lot of downtime, like if you didn't have orders and stuff. And the convenience store had like a little aisle of toys. So a friend of mine and I would go out there and we'd try to we would get the little toys, the yo-yos and stuff, and try to walk the dog and do all the I don't really know any tricks. I just like doing this, and it's kind of soothing. Cool, man. I did not expect a yo-yo. So far in the viewers mail section, I've gotten an electronic game from probably the 70s and a yo-yo. So I will definitely take that yo-yo. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. That's a good yo-yo. Works very smoothly. And what else do we have? You know what? I don't even remember. Lynn, did we speak a long time ago or something? Because I don't remember us even talking about any of this stuff, man. That's a yo-yo stand. It's a yo-yo stand. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to teach my daughter how to yo-yo. I think I tried teaching her once, and she just didn't get it. Oh yeah, okay, Lynn, I got you. You're this guy. I was confused there for a second. Okay, Lynn said that he bought out a music store of a bunch of stuff. Okay, and that they had a bunch of these, and he offered to send me one for free, if you can believe it. Just so cool. But they were closing out. These, he said he bought all that they had left and gave me the choice between this one, which is the leather version, and the other one, which was the suede version. And I remember these when they came out, and they were distributed. I think it's a Dunlop product. Okay, but they were distributed by one of the same guys who I think distributed all of our straps, like the Levi's and all of the other straps. But this is a nice strap, man. Cool. There's actually a Harley Davidson dealership right down the road from me. I mean, literally right by my house. And I don't know. Is Harley even going to be making USA bikes anymore? I heard something they might be moving their factory. Is that true? I mean, I hope that's not true. It's just a rumor, but anyway, looks like a decent strap. I think this is not real leather though. From what I can tell, I think it's man-made. And then we've got like a suede backing, but it's nice and cushiony. So very cool. Thank you so much, Lynn, man. I appreciate that. And then yes, I remember our conversation now. I just didn't remember speaking to anyone about a yo-yo, so I was confused. And hopefully, yeah, hopefully Harley's not going overseas or anything like that. Or were they moving to Mexico or something? I don't know. I heard something to that effect. What's this? This is Yo Mega. Is this more yo-yo stuff? High performance lubricant. Lynn, are you just like totally into yo-yos? Is that your deal, or do you deal in this stuff? Do you deal in yo-yo stuff? I don't know. Maybe there's a letter in here explaining it. Here's more yo-yo stuff. What is this? Fits any Yomega yo-yo. It's a holster for a yo-yo. So in case you like, you know, in case you're out at the rave or something, you know, and you need to have your yo-yo on hand, and somebody wants to do like a yo-yo off or something, and they're trying to step to you, and you got to have quick access to that yo-yo so you can whip it out. That's what this is for, your yo-yo holster. So you clip it on your belt and you'll have it. It'll be there. Words at 20 paces. Yo-yos at high noon. What do we have here? Okay, high performance yo-yo string. Is this string for yo-yos, I guess? Yes, replacement string. Well, man, I guess I'm all set for my yo-yoing contest event that's been coming up. But no, I mean, I'm taking the piss, but like I said, I do like yo-yoing. It's very relaxing. It's funny how those things, it's like, you kind of come and go in your life. You know, it's like you'll do something for a long time and you'll kind of master it, which I never mastered yo-yo, but oh yeah, straight razor. Be careful. So that means I should not stick this down in the front of my pants, right? Is that what you're saying? What would be really funny is if, you know, I open this and like some deadly spider came out and bit me or something. It's like, and the other, you know, on the other side is like, beware of the spider. Oh yeah, so this is a nice one. I do have a straight razor, but it's not in very good shape. It is very corroded and stuff, and I really have not wanted to use it for that reason. This one looks like it's in great shape though. Made in Sheffield, England. Cool. So I don't know, man. I'll have to try this. I do have all of the equipage, with the exception of a sharpener. I need a leather strap, I guess, to do the sharpening. Well, every time I see one of these, it reminds me of the color purple. She's standing behind Danny Glover, and you know, she's about to cut his throat, and then somebody runs up or something. She's like shaking and shit.
That razor looks dull to me, Miss Seeley.
Damn women.
That's what it reminds me of. When I saw that as a kid, I was like, cut his damn throat. Oh, okay. Maybe I should have opened it the opposite way. You intended me to open it from the top, but I opened it the other way. Okay, so what do we have here? What is this? Is this you? This is you. Cool. Okay. United States patent. Superior Performance Yo-Yo by Leonard Amaral. You invented this yo-yo and patented it. That's cool. I will say that was a very smooth yo-yo, and I think I did comment on that, so that's cool. That's super freaking cool. Let's see what your patent is all about here. So what's the deal with the construction here? Let's see what I'm looking at. High performance yo-yo displays extended spinning time and is easy to use even by a beginner. The yo-yo includes 2 yo-yo halves connected by the axle. A spool formed from low friction polymeric material is mounted for free rotation on the axle, and the yo-yo string is attached to the spool. Interesting stuff. Cool. So this is on your letterhead. Hi Brad, I enjoy your channel. Very informative and therapeutic. Please find enclosed a Harley Davidson leather guitar strap. As I mentioned, I bought 40 of these on a closeout and have been giving them to my guitar buds for some time. Also included is an old straight edge razor. I know I sound like a wuss, but these razors are extremely sharp. Oh, I know they are. Like I said, color purple.
Damn women.
Included is a Red Sox custom imprinted transaxle modular yo-yo. It may be taken apart to lubricate. Okay. That's why the lubricant and everything. Cool. Or remove a knot from the string. Yeah. That's been a problem on my past yo-yos. I have 4 patents on high performance yo-yo design. That's amazing, dude. The Lone Ranger gave people silver bullets as a memento. I give my friends yo-yos and guitar straps. Well, dude, man, Lynn, you're cool as shit, dude. That's awesome. Retired at the end of June. Well, congratulations, and looking forward to playing pedal steel and guitar. Man, I wish I could play pedal steel. I've owned 2 pedal steel guitars. The last one I bought, man, I stole that thing. I really did. It was a early 60s Fender pedal steel had the case and everything. I mean, it looked like it'd never been played. I walked into this little antique shop and this lady had it, and she sold it to me for, gosh, I don't know, $500 maybe, something like that. And I think I doubled my money on it. So, but I've owned a couple of them. I've owned and I suck at it. I tried to play them and I just totally suck. I had a show bud as well. That's what it was, a show bud. 70 is my next birthday. Seriously. You started playing guitar when you were 14 also. So did I. I started when I was 14. Or, well, I think I was 13 going on 14. I was almost 14 when I got my guitar. That's so cool, Lynn. Thanks, man. You guys go check out his yo-yos. Here's another one. Something else Lynn sent me. This is a reprint of what looks like a handwritten letter that he received from Bill Lawrence himself, and it's talking about, let's see, I guess Lynn probably wrote him and asked him a question about how to wire something. And this was, I'm guessing this is the days before the internet really was the internet. You know, this is 93. This is back when you had like news groups or something if you were lucky, you know. So this was this would have been something. This would have been the way people communicated. But this is what Bill Lawrence sent Lynn in 1993. As he's talking about how to wire a tone knob, 3-position mini switch. Telly old, telly new. What does this say? You got the first ICC that was shipped to a player. The only other existing prototype is on my guitar. Wow. What's this all about, Lynn? Chime in down in the comments and let me know the backstory of this. I'm interested in what this is all about. Alright, I'm not sure what the heck this is. I have no idea. Sometimes I get packages and they're not really labeled appropriately. They don't say anything like viewer mail. I don't know what this is. Alright. Okay, cool. So this, yeah, we'll get to take a look at something I bought the other day. Somebody saw my video on an amp that I serviced and converted actually for somebody, and they contacted me and said, hey, I've got one exactly like that, and do you want it to buy? You know, so I bought it for a decent little price. I mean, it wasn't extremely cheap, but it was cheap enough that it was like, well, yeah, I'll take it. I'll make something of that, you know. So I'll show you what this is, and you'll probably remember the original video I made. This is an old Silvertone hi-fi amplifier. So this was originally meant to amplify like a little portable record player or something. So it was modular. You'd have your record player and then plug it into this, which would amplify it. And this is a model 9075. And again, I've done a video on one of these before. And you know what? I'm just going to plug this thing in and see if it works. Hell with it. Let's dial it up on the back right now. So we'll get to see what it does or doesn't do. It ought to be eventful, if nothing else. We're getting something. Some kind of noise. Until we didn't have noise. Alright, let's see if we get anything. I do remember, okay, there's two inputs. One's labeled high level and the other is labeled low level. And I remember that's counterintuitive. It's backwards, because what that is that's telling you whether you need to plug your high level output cartridge from your turntable into the high level output, which is like a 3-volt crystal cartridge, or if you have like a ceramic cartridge, which is a more low level output, you need to plug that into this, which gives you more gain. So this is the higher gain. The low level is the high gain input. So let's see if it works. Holy shit. Let's go ahead and dial it on up. I do remember this thing being very noisy. I do remember that. very bassy. Yeah, it's definitely a lower level. So yeah, I can't really remember all that I did on the one that was sent to me, you know, to mess with. But I do remember doing a lot of mods and stuff to it. And this might be a cool opportunity to go back and revisit the same model and do some different mods on the same model. So we'll probably do that in the future. But yeah, cool. And again, I didn't pay very much for this thing. It was a good deal for you know, for what it is. And it's, you know, it's an all tube amp, vintage, good shape, and it's all here. So yeah, definitely cool. Alright guys, so that will conclude this edition of Shitpost Friday. Head on over to Guitologist channel 2. I will probably at some point, you need to subscribe over there because I'm going to start putting more things up there on a more regular basis. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and if you do, you know, drop me a PayPal tip every now and then. I do put my PayPal down in the description, and a lot of you have already done that, and I appreciate all of the donors that I do get. Anyway, that's all. Thanks. Take care.